Of the 14,000 yet unreleased documents, the JFK Records Act of 1992 mandated that all records from all agencies be made publicly available, but the CIA, FBI and other agencies have contested their release each year for the last 30 years on the grounds of national security or of intelligence methodology. However, they also contend that there is no smoking gun amongst them. In any case, specifically, there are 44 sensitive records concerning one George Joannides, a career CIA officer, his intelligence methods, his covert meaning his false identity, and his travel in 1963-64, when he served as the chief of psychological warfare branch of the agency's Miami station, and in 1978, when he served as liaison to the House Select Committee on Assassination. They have been denied in full, meaning they are not partially or mostly redacted, completely denied. These files deal with the proximity of Joannides to Lee Harvey Oswald's activities during that time. A group of CIA officers were keenly interested in Oswald in the fall of 1963. They were running a psychological warfare operation, authorized in June 1963, that followed Oswald from New Orleans to Mexico City later that year. Jefferson Morley, a journalist and author, has sued the CIA over these files over the last 15 years and almost had won their release in court. However, Judge Brett Kavanaugh that Kavanaugh wrote the majority opinion for why they could not be released, and they continue to be denied until the next presidential overview in December of 2022. So, for those that claim there is probably nothing damning or important in the remaining records, why wouldn't they have been made available? Joannides has been dead for 32 years. What they may reveal may be a linchpin that could connect many known and unknown facts regarding Oswald's strange movements in intelligence circles during that fateful summer.
The U.S. government has declassified many files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, yet certain documents remain unreleased or partially redacted. The most significant unreleased or redacted files include 1. CIA and FBI files on key figures, files on people like E. Howard Hunt, later involved in the Watergate scandal, and David Atlee Phillips, CIA officer allegedly tied to Lee Harvey Oswald, have been withheld, possibly due to concerns over intelligence practices or to protect sources. 2. Oswald's Mexico City visit. Key details on Lee Harvey Oswald's visit to Mexico City in 1963, where he contacted Soviet and Cuban embassies, remain unclear. Records of CIA surveillance and FBI reports from this visit are still partially redacted, sparking speculation about Oswald's motives and affiliations. 3. Operation Northwoods and false flag documents. Some files are rumored to cover false flag operations planned by the CIA or Pentagon. Operation Northwoods, a set of false flag proposals in the early 1960s, has fueled theories that similar plans could have been tied to JFK's assassination, though no hard evidence of a connection has surfaced. Number 4. Files on organized crime, the FBI's investigation into organized crime figures, such as Carlos Marcello, Santos Traficante, and Johnny Roselli, who were known to have grudges against JFK, is still partially classified. These figures are often connected to theories involving mob revenge or collaboration with rogue intelligence agents. 5. Sensitive foreign intelligence operations. Certain records relate to highly classified CIA operations from the Cold War era, potentially including efforts in Cuba or conflicts with the Soviet Union. These files may implicate officials or risk international tensions if fully released. 6. CIA Joannides files. CIA officer George Joannides was allegedly involved with Cuban exile groups linked to Oswald, and was later appointed as a CIA liaison during the House Select Committee on Assassinations in the 1970s. His records remain classified, raising questions about the CIA's role in the case. 7. Secret Service and military intelligence files. Some documents are believed to contain military intelligence assessments and Secret Service actions or inactions before and after the assassination, with some files still withheld or redacted. 8. The coded messages files. Some files reportedly detail intercepted messages from Cuba, the Soviet Union, and other entities before and after JFK's assassination. These could provide context to Cold War activities and motives, but remain inaccessible. While these files could clarify elements of JFK's assassination, national security, Cold War intelligence practices, and protection of sources are cited as reasons for continued secrecy. 1. CIA and FBI files on key figures. E. Howard Hunt. Hunt, a former CIA officer involved in covert operations and later part of the Watergate scandal, claimed late in life that rogue CIA agents could have had a role in JFK's death. His files remain sensitive, as they could reveal internal intelligence dynamics during the 1960s. Some researchers believe that Hunt may have had foreknowledge of, or even ties to, operatives connected with individuals like Oswald or anti-Castro Cuban exiles. David Atlee Phillips, a CIA official in Mexico City at the time of Oswald's visit, is linked by some to suspicious CIA activities. His files may shed light on surveillance practices, as well as CIA ties to Oswald or disaffected Cubans. Phillips' alleged encounters with Oswald add complexity, sparking theories that Oswald was either monitored or manipulated. 2. Oswald's Mexico City visit. Unreleased details. In September 1963, 2 months before the assassination, Oswald visited Mexico City and reached out to the Soviet and Cuban embassies. CIA surveillance records of his activities and meetings, however, remain partially unreleased. What the CIA and FBI knew about his actions or motives and why they closely monitored him are central questions. Implications. Oswald reportedly sought a Cuban visa to visit Havana, possibly intending to go to the Soviet Union. This has led to speculation that Oswald may have had international motives or ties, though some believe he was possibly manipulated by agencies or third parties, unaware of being monitored. 3. Operation Northwoods and false flag documents. Operation Northwoods. In 1962, the U.S. Department of Defense considered a series of false flag attacks to justify an invasion of Cuba, including fabricating attacks on American civilians. Though Northwoods was rejected by JFK, some researchers connect its existence to rogue elements who may have sought to remove him. Theories suggest that similar tactics could have led to his assassination as a covert operation to influence policy. Similar plans. Other files hint at potential CIA activities with Cuban exiles and anti-Castro operations, which may include plans to frame Castro or communists. The connection to JFK's assassination remains speculative, but documents that could reveal false flag operations tied to that era are withheld, partly out of national security concerns. 4. Files on organized crime. Organized crime figures. Mob bosses like Carlos Marcello, Santos Traficante, and Johnny Roselli had significant motivations to retaliate against the Kennedy administration. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy's crackdown on organized crime had intensified tensions. There are FBI reports on their activities, but much remains redacted. Mob intelligence connections. Files hint at connections between mob figures and the CIA, particularly related to anti-Castro plots, as the CIA considered using mob resources to assassinate Castro. This raises questions about whether mobsters, embittered by Kennedy policies, acted independently or in collaboration with rogue intelligence figures. 5. Sensitive foreign intelligence operations. Cold War operations. Some files relate to CIA activities in Cuba and against the Soviet Union, including potentially risky operations like assassination attempts on Castro. Documents withheld may contain sensitive information on U.S. covert actions and alliances, raising questions about whether JFK's assassination was connected to complex Cold War conflicts. Soviet Union links. Intelligence files discussing Soviet diplomats and spies' potential connections to Oswald remain highly sensitive. The government fears these files might rekindle Cold War-era tensions or reveal intelligence vulnerabilities, which could affect current diplomatic relations. 6. CIA Joanides files. George Joanides' role. CIA officer Joanides was the handler for the Cuban exile group DRE, which had connections to Oswald. When Congress reopened the assassination case in the 1970s, Joanides was assigned as the CIA liaison, but didn't disclose his prior DRE role. His files could reveal a potential cover-up or hint at CIA efforts to control the investigation's direction. Ori and Oswald. The DRE had confrontations with Oswald and publicized his pro-Castro activities, which likely affected public perception of him as a lone gunman or communist sympathizer. Joanides' files might clarify whether the CIA deliberately obfuscated its relationship with Oswald and anti-Castro groups. Secret Service and military intelligence files. Pre-assassination security concerns. The Secret Service received warnings about possible threats, yet JFK's Dallas route was not altered, nor was security enhanced. files related to these decisions and assessments are partially redacted, possibly to protect procedural aspects of security and intelligence practices. Military intelligence insights. Military intelligence files, particularly from U.S. Army intelligence, may contain observations or warnings regarding Oswald's activities and potential threats, though details remain undisclosed. Some suspect that these files could indicate foreknowledge of the assassination or information regarding Oswald's movements. 8. The coded messages files. Intercepted communications. The CIA and NSA allegedly intercepted cryptic communications from Soviet, Cuban, and other foreign sources after the assassination. These messages might contain key insights into how foreign governments perceived Oswald, or whether they had intelligence about JFK's assassination. However, most details remain classified due to Cold War intelligence concerns. Possible Cuban connections. Reports that Oswald reached out to Cuban contacts have fueled theories about Cuban involvement or prior awareness of an impending assassination. Still, the extent of any Cuban-Soviet involvement remains speculative without access to these intercepted messages. Why these files remain secret? National security and intelligence tactics. Many files remain classified to protect intelligence gathering methods or international relationships. The U.S. government fears revealing intelligence practices or compromising sources could risk current and future operations. Internal agency accountability. Some files may expose agency missteps or failures, such as possible oversights in monitoring Oswald for warning signs or CIA ties to individuals or groups connected to him. Preventing speculation and misinformation. Officials argue that full disclosure may give rise to new conspiracy theories if misunderstood by the public or reveal politically damaging aspects of the Cold War era. Each of these files contributes to lingering questions, and full transparency might clarify whether the official lone gunman theory stands or if other forces were at play. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest content. We've got plenty more exciting videos coming your way, and you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.